Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry I haven't made a video in a while. As you can see, I've been a little occupied, but if you can tell by the title of this video, I'm gonna be talking about my labor. You guys had asked me some questions about my labor, so I'm gonna be answering them and talking about my labor experience and how that was. So yeah. So the first question was, were you planning on no epidural, or was that something that happened last minute? So that was something I had planned from the very beginning of my pregnancy. I wanted natural labor, no medications, no epidural, nothing, and that's what happened. They said, did you poop? Funny story, when I was having the contractions at home, I forced myself to poop at home specifically so I wouldn't poop while I was in the delivery room. So yeah, I pooped at home. How was your experience? Honestly, my experience was pretty good. Like, I would do it again. I would totally do it again, like 4 more times. Labor was pretty good for me. What made you not take the epidural? You go, girl. Thank you. Like I said before, it was something I really wanted from the very beginning. I didn't want any medications. I already have a messed up back, and I just wanted to do it all natural. It's just something that I've always wanted to do, and I did it. Again, sis, you said no epidural. You did that. Thank you again. OMG, your baby is so cute. How much did he weigh? Thank you. He weighed 8 pounds 6 ounces. Pretty big baby, yeah. Pretty big. How long was it, and was it painful? Do you count labor as like when I started having the contractions, or like labor when I started pushing? If it was like, if it starts from how long I was having the contractions, I had them from 12 a.m. in the morning, and then I had him at 9 p.m. But the actual pushing part, I pushed him for like less than 30 minutes and he was out. So I don't know how long labor is. I would say it was pretty quick if it goes by the pushing. How long was labor, and how many days did you stay at the hospital? Like I said before, I had 30 minutes. And how long did I stay? I tried to stay the minimal amount at the hospital. Okay, so I had the baby at 9 p.m. We stayed the night, and then we left the next day around 8 p.m. So pretty good. I was not trying to stay longer than I needed to. He was good, I was good, I was ready to be home. How is the pain after labor? Honestly, the pain after labor is, it's rough, but not as bad. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, the overall pain down there after labor, it would be like a 4. It's not that bad. But then again, I have a very high pain tolerance, hence the no epidural, no medications. What toll did it take on your body? You know, you're having contractions back to back, your body is going through a lot, and then you're pushing a baby out. That also takes a lot of energy out of you. And not only that, I'm breastfeeding, and I breastfed him right away. So that is also like very exhausting. It takes a lot on you, but I would totally do it again. Baby number 2 on the way. No, I'm just kidding. Midnight, I started having the contractions about 7 minutes apart, so I didn't really get that much sleep. The contractions were tolerable, but you know, they were right there. It was very uncomfortable. It wasn't really like stomach cramps like I thought they would be. they were more like in my back, like in my spine and in my butthole. Like it was throbbing my butthole, okay? And my lower back, like super, super lower back, that's where I felt all the contractions. Nothing up here for me, everything back here in my back. So, I was having contractions all night, and then around maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, we decided to go to the hospital to see like how dilated I was, because that Monday I had my 38-week appointment, and they checked me and I was only 2 centimeters dilated. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm more dilated, because it was only 4 days later. They sent me home. I was only 3 centimeters dilated at the time. So in the meantime, you know, me, my husband, my mom, we go to Walmart, we walk around, you know, we're chilling. We go run some errands. I was still having the contractions back to back. At this point, they were like 5 minutes apart. And I was having contractions like all damn day. Like all day long. And I went, and they checked me. I was 4.5, 5 centimeters. And then they admitted me, because they admit you when you're at 5 centimeters. At that point, it was already 3 p.m. when they admitted me. Yeah, I was like 4.5, 5 centimeters. And then they hooked me up to the IV. My midwife, she told me, she's like, you know, once you get admitted, you know, your contractions are gonna start slowing down, because you're gonna be very hydrated, and you know, it's gonna start slowing things down. But she knew I wanted to do everything natural, like no medications, no epidural, nothing, like no pain management. Like I just wanted to do everything natural. That was what I wanted to do. So pain management, me and my husband and my mom, we would walk around the labor unit. You know, we did laps. It was a very small unit, so I'm just going, passing by the nurses, passing by the nurses, passing by the nurses, like so many times. And I wanted to be walking around. I wanted to be up and active. I didn't want to be bedridden, laying in bed, not progressing. I didn't want to be like that. So I would walk around the room, walk around outside in the unit. I was very active. And then around 7 p.m. they came and checked me, and I hadn't dilated that much. So she came in and was like, hey, like, you're not dilating that much. We're gonna have to start you on Pitocin. And in my mind, I was like, I didn't want to, but at that point, I wasn't progressing as much as I wanted to. So I was just like, okay, fine. Since I already want the baby today, since I'm already here, let's do it. So she started on like 1 round of the Pitocin, and my contractions started getting super intense. Like I was like holding onto the rails, like intense. And for every contraction that I would have, my husband was very supportive. Like from the very beginning, he's very supportive. Like, what do you need? Do you need this? Do you need that? You know, he was there for me all the time, like throughout the whole thing. I'm so grateful for him. But yeah, for every contraction, I would tell him to like massage my back or put pressure on where I was having the contractions. It's called acupressure, and that helped a ton. Acupressure is basically you put pressure on the point of your lower back. It's hard to explain it without showing you a picture. But where I was feeling the contractions, I would have him like massage my back or put pressure on where I was feeling the contractions, and it would like counteract the pain. And he was great with that. I was like 9 centimeters, and at that point I was calling the nurses like every 20 minutes. I was like, I need to push. And they check me, and they're like, no, you're only at 9, you need to hold him in. So I am clenching so freaking hard because I didn't want to push when I couldn't. So I'm like clenching. It was very conflicting. I'm like telling my body to open but not push. it was challenging. Around like 9 something, they checked me again and they're like, okay, you're at 10, it's time to push. So I was doing the practice pushes with the nurses that were there because my midwife had left and I was waiting for the doctor to come in or something. I literally pushed for less than 30 minutes, I think. They tell you to push whenever you have a contraction. You push for however long the contraction is. And it's so funny because like I would have my contraction, then I would push and I would feel his head. I would like feel his head come out, and then when like the contraction stops, like his head would suck back in. That's like that, I felt that like contraction and then he would suck back in, and then a contraction and then he would suck back in. Like I felt everything and it was all worth it. And the funny thing is, like, pushing him out didn't hurt at all. Like, I wanted to push him out. What hurt most was the contractions. Like, oh my gosh, I could not imagine having contractions for like multiple days. That was the worst. But then again, it was tolerable. I was like walking around walking around Walmart. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in our next video. If you have any suggestions on what other videos I should make, like maybe a breastfeeding video or something like that, I don't know, just comment down below. What was I talking about? I forgot what I was talking about. Mom life.